Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. And today we are going to look at the amazing story of Goliath from Gath Philistia. But this time we'll see it from a different perspective. We'll get to hear about him through his own eyes. It is his story that he wants to tell us. I am not sure if you know this, but Goliath wasn't the only giant in the world of the Old Testament. He was just the most famous one. So I decided to make this video so that you can get to know the other giants too. This video will be an eye-opener for those who have never read the Bible, or even for those who have read it many times, but never paid attention to details. So sit back and let's jump into it. We'll start with the giants mentioned in the book of Genesis, because they were the ones who were still around when Abraham arrived in Canaan. There were 3 categories of giants in this time period. The first one was the Anakim, or the children of Anak. They lived in Canaan, and their name, Fierce Neck, or Strong Neck. If you've ever tried to tame a stubborn mule, you know how strong their neck can be. So these guys probably got their name because of their strength and unwillingness to submit to God as his people. But it gets better, because there were also the Zamzummim, whose name means the blind. No, I'm not talking about someone who couldn't see physically. No, these guys were spiritually blind. The third group of giants, the Herites, lived in Mount Seir. In fact, they got their name from the mountain because they dwelt in it. Okay, so far so good, right? Let's move forward a few hundred years. When Moses sent the 12 spies to check out Canaan, they came back with some bad news. Not only was the land flowing with milk and honey, as God had promised, but it was also occupied by some pretty big people. Deuteronomy 2 verse 20 says, "And the children of Israel said, If only we had died in the wilderness, or if only we had perished by the sword or by famine. Why should we go up into this land which the Lord our God will give us?" Their leader, Moses, tried to calm them down, but it didn't really work. So God got mad and told them they wouldn't enter the promised land either. Instead, their children would be the ones to inherit it. As the children of Israel wandered in the desert for 40 years, they had encounters with some pretty fierce tribes. One of them was the Rephaim. It was a huge tribe of giants who lived east of the Jordan River in Bashan. They put up quite a fight against Israel, but in the end, they lost. Even though Israel won, they didn't come out unscathed. In fact, some say that Og, the king of Bashan, was the biggest giant of all. His bed was made of iron and was over 9 feet long. Wow, talk about a long night's sleep. But wait, there's more. The text says that if he were to lie down on it, his feet would hang off the end. Just imagine trying to find a comfortable position like that. So when David defeated Goliath, he wasn't just taking on a random bully. No, he was facing off against a literal giant. And when he cut off Goliath's head, it weighed over 6 pounds. That's heavier than most bowling balls. And the Bible says that the people came from all around to see it. Can you blame them? After all, it wasn't every day that they saw the head of a giant lying around. Speaking of the head of Goliath, what happened to it? Well, it was taken back to Jerusalem and hung up in the temple. Why, you might ask? Well, because it served as a reminder of the power of God. The text says that whoever looked upon it would be reminded of the defeat of the Philistines. Talk about a conversation starter. But hold on, we are not done yet. We still have to meet some more giants. As the nation of Israel grew, so did their enemies. They faced many battles against various groups of people, including the Ammonite, Moabite, and Edomite nations. Each of these nations had its own unique culture and history. For example, the Moabites believed that their king Balak could defeat Israel with the help of Balaam, a prophet from Pethor in Mesopotamia. But God had other plans. Through a series of visions, dreams, and encounters with angels, Balaam was prevented from cursing Israel. Even though Balak tried everything, including placing camels at strategic spots to block Balaam's path, it was no use. God simply wasn't having it. Now, These people weren't giants in the physical sense, but they sure acted like it in their arrogance and pride. They thought they were better than others, and that they deserved special treatment. Guess what? God didn't like that one bit. Okay, so far we've met some pretty big names in the Bible, but there's still one more left. He was so big that even his brother was intimidated by him. Meet Ishbi-Benob, a member of the family of giants called the Rephaim. He was almost too much for King David to handle. In 2 Samuel 21:16, it says, Ishbi-Benob, one of the giants, Rephaim's sons, had a spear whose point was made of bronze and weighed about 300 shekels. That's heavier than some of the spears used by Roman soldiers. It also says that its wooden shaft was like a weaver's organ. Now, I'm not an expert on weaving looms, but I'm guessing that this spear must have been really tall. The battle between David and Ishbi-Benob was epic. It was a fight to the death, but in the end, David won. Even though David triumphed over the giant, it wasn't easy. It took some serious effort and skill to take down someone that big. In fact, the Bible says that Abishai, the son of Zeruiah and a close friend of David, helped him out. Together, they defeated the giant. There's another interesting thing about Ishbi-Benob. He wasn't just a fighter, but he was also a builder. In 2 Chronicles 25, it says, And he built strongholds in the wilderness, and in the mountains of Judah, in the way to the south, and in the heart of the wilderness. These strongholds were impressive structures that stood the test of time. They were built with huge stones and were designed to withstand attacks from all sides. It was a testament to the strength and ingenuity of the builders who created them. These are just a few of the giants that are mentioned in the Bible. Each one of them had their own unique story and impact on the world. Some were warriors, while others were builders. But all of them shared one common trait. They were larger-than-life individuals who left a lasting impression on those around them. It is important to remember that the Bible isn't just a collection of stories about giants and other fantastical creatures. It's a book that teaches us about God, His people, and their relationship with Him. While some may choose to ignore or dismiss these accounts of giants as mere myths or legends, others find them to be deeply meaningful and inspiring. For instance, the story of David and Goliath is often used to illustrate the power of faith and courage. David, a young shepherd, faced off against a giant warrior named Goliath, who had been terrorizing the Israelites. Despite being outmatched in size and experience, David took on the challenge and defeated Goliath using only a sling and a stone. This story teaches us that we can overcome seemingly impossible odds if we trust in God and believe in ourselves. Similarly, the story of Joshua and the fall of Jericho teaches us the importance of obedience and faith. When the Israelites were ready to enter the promised land, they came across the city of Jericho, which was protected by high walls. But God instructed Joshua to march around the city walls 7 times and shout, and the walls would come tumbling down. Although it may seem like a strange set of instructions, Joshua and his men followed God's commands and were rewarded with the victory. This story teaches us that it's important to listen to God and trust in His plan, even when it doesn't make sense. The Bible is full of stories of faith and courage, and it continues to inspire people all around the world. Whether you believe in the literal truth of these accounts or see them as symbolic or metaphorical, they can teach us valuable lessons about life, faith, and the human condition. It's up to each individual to decide what these stories mean to them, but their impact and influence are undeniable. So next time you open up the Bible, keep in mind that it's not just a book filled with ancient tales. It's a collection of stories that have shaped our world and continue to inspire people today. And who knows, you may just find some valuable lessons along the way. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.